Hi, I'm Nini, and welcome to Creative Angles, the podcast for creatives by creatives. Join us as we talk to people active in the ever-expanding world of the arts in an effort to both inform and inspire. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Creative Angles. I'm your host, Nini, and today we are here with Lenny. Lenny, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, well, pretty good. I'm glad you were here.
Totally didn't just jabber. Totally
No,
fresh.
definitely not.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
yeah,
We
yeah.
just started.
Yeah, 100%.
Lenny, what kind of creative would you say you are?
So what I do is I am a 3D generalist specializing in Unreal Engine, and in that area, the title I most commonly carry is technical artist, but that is usually just because they don't know what to call me because I do a lot of things.
Right. What is a technical artist even? Like, what kind of things fall under that?
So as a technical artist, you basically have to go wherever they need someone to get shit done. So sometimes I'm doing environmental builds, which means I need to know how environmental tools work, scatterer tools, landscape tools, but then you also have to know how materials work, so you have to mess with those. And then sometimes they'll need you to do layout work, which is taking a shot sequence and laying out where the action takes place, building models, bringing in LiDAR 3D scans of the sets, setting them up. Sometimes they need you to write tools for pipeline, so you have to go into Python and blueprints and
Oh my god.
code tools and for example, at the last company I worked at, there was no Unreal pipeline, and the developers, incredibly smart people, incredibly hardworking people on the development team at Luma Pictures, but there just wasn't enough of them, so they didn't have time. It's the usual. Like, they're just crushed underneath the weight of trying to take care of all the normal stuff, let alone having someone like me going, hey, I'm going to use Unreal to get sequences done. So then I had to write tools in Unreal that would basically piggyback off of the pipeline. So our normal pipeline used USDs, and a shot would come in, go through all the different stages of the pipeline it goes through, and I would need to write tools that, say, would jump into the pipeline, find a camera for a shot, pull it over to Unreal, set it up in Unreal, and then prep the shot for that. And then to get it back into the sequence, write another tool that would grab the shot, set it up for render, make sure it lands in the right location with the right naming conventions, render it, and then kick off a post-render tool that would then register the render back to the database so the compositors would know, hey, there's a new render. So
Good grief.
all over the place, lots of different. You're doing art half the time, you're doing programming half the time, you're doing maintenance, sequence setup and planning part of the time. So you're they refer to you ironically as a unicorn.
Some whimsy, at least, amidst it all.
Yeah.
Was that even on your contract? Like, that kind of a list? Or nah?
No. So that's the thing, is that's why they just call you on my last, let's see, my first time I got hired in, it was as I applied as so your question directly, sorry, I wander a lot.
No, it's fine. We encourage family.
So your question directly, my last contract, or my current one, I got hired as a lighter. However, lighting is maybe 30% of the job I do. So yeah, normally a lighter is just a lighter, but I do material setups and then effects work. So I'll have to set up smoke and fire. and then light the scene, and then redo the layout, and then fix assets, and then go, okay, well that kind of looks like trash, so I'm gonna rebuild that and go find a different asset, and so then I'm doing assets and material work, and sometimes an animation looks a little funny, and I'll be okay, well I got to move this to there, and so you just it's not. I will say normally in the industry it's better to hyper specialize.
Yeah.
But I I struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle doing just one thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also I cannot stand if something's broken. I can't abide putting my hands in the air and going, well, I don't know, it's not my job.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
I have to go find where the shit's broken, figure it out, and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you spend a
And
lot more
that's
time than you would initially think seeing like the paper essentially.
yeah. Slowly working your way around from every different angle and whatnot. So yeah, it's the short and skinny technical artist currently hired as a lighting artist, but still doing technical artist work.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it one of those
Yeah.
things where you feel like you can barely even properly prepare in like a school setting and it's like mostly experience?
100%. So school is great and fabulous for. I'll say it was great for me for tasting all the pie.
Mm-hmm.
So because you never know which pie you're gonna like. Like I went to school to be a computer scientist to program,
Oh.
and I went. I spent 3 years coding fucking what is it called, data management shit.
Oof.
So just take data, move it here, take data, move it there, sort it, make it run fast, do functions, binary trees, yada, all the usual stuff when you're doing computer science.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked every teacher, I'm like, can you teach me just how to draw a line from here to there? That's what I wanted. I wanted to make video games.
Mm.
And that's what university teaches you normally, or at least didn't at the time. And it was all just hardcore computer science data management. And so while I did that, and I knew I needed to do that to get into making games, I realized I despise coding. Like I don't like it.
Fair. I understand.
And it's not I love the logic of it, and I love the figuring out the puzzle pieces of it and
Mm-hmm.
how it needs to all fit together. And object oriented programming is fabulous. But the actual remembering the syntax, where's the semicolon, the dash,
Yeah.
that makes me insane. And so then I took a 3D programming class, or not 3D programming, 3D Studio Max course.
Oh.
And I instantaneously was like, oh my god, holy shit, what is this? This is glorious. I love this. And so that's where I say college was super helpful, is the like, if it weren't for being able to go, oh, here's another piece of pie I can sample, then I would have never known.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and so once I took that course, and very quickly was teaching the class half the time, because the teacher would just be like, I don't know, Lenny, go teach them something, and I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
god.
So, but me and three of my friends, I lured them in from the other computer science classes. We all lived in the same dorm together, and we're taking the same major, so we
Oh
all
hell
ended up
yeah.
hanging out together, and then showed them the class, and then they all got into it. And nowadays, what I did work for, well, 3 out of 4 of us all worked for Luma Pictures for like
Oh.
6 years together.
Damn.
Yeah, we all kind of migrated around and then ended up working together like a decade after college. Um, and yeah, so they work there. One friend nowadays works for EA. One works for Scanline in Canada, I think, or maybe in the UK. I can't remember. Anyways, so we're all still in it, but just we came together at Luma Pictures and then kind of went our separate paths again. But we still stay in contact. So
Hell yeah. How long ago was that you went to school for this?
That was in the late 90s.
Oh.
Yeah, we what was it? The majors didn't exist. We had to like, hey, can we do this as a major? They're like, well, no, but we can make a new major.
Oh my God. I imagine a lot has changed over the last 20 or so
It
years.
has. It has. It's gotten a shit ton better and a shit ton less painful, and I am a massive fan of the Blender / DaVinci Resolve movement over Maya and 3D Studio Max movement. Because,
are you noticing that in the industry, that's like a topic of discussion?
They are. It is in discussion, but it's just people are very resistant to new things.
Yeah.
And it is a very big ask to be like, hey, I know you've trained in these programs your whole life and became a fucking samurai at these programs, right? Like people who are riggers, for example, who know rigging in Maya, who've spent decades getting and that one's the industry standard is Maya.
Oh, yeah.
And so people have spent decades getting like so good at it that they in one day's time they can take a character from just being a mesh to a fully rigged, fully muscle bound, flexing, properly bending, all the little bits and bobs rigged character in like very, very quick turnaround because they've spent so long getting so good at that. And it takes that long to get that good at it. It takes like a decade to get to that level. And asking them to go, hey, all that stuff you've been training all these years, here's something new.
Oh Lord, yeah.
And so start from ground zero. And so it's a big ask. But at least they are speaking a little more and a little more and a little more in the industry about it. So I'm hopeful that the new generations coming into the field will push on it harder and harder until it's accepted.
Yeah.
Especially because when 3D Studio Max and Maya and Lightwave and other programs were all competing against each other, there was very, very quick advancement.
Yeah.
And because they had competition. And then Autodesk bought 3D Studio Max.
Oh, right.
And once that merger happened, they stopped.
Yeah.
They no longer had competition. Once you have monopoly, no competition, the programs kind of stop. And so Blender was there in the background at the time, like not looking so good. At the time, it started out very clunky. But them stopping pushing technology gave Blender the window of opportunity to come up.
Yeah.
And holy shit, in the last 3 or 4 years, it has come up immensely. And it was always growing, but in the last 3 to 4, it's grown at like a very staggering rate.
Yeah, I imagine that one movie did a lot for it as well. Flow, was it?
Oh, called? Yeah. God, the amount of hate that movie got at my work.
Really?
It was yes, and it was so. They're like, well, you understand they're gonna cut people out of their work, and I'm like, no, they're not. What are you talking about?
The internet was really excited.
No, I know that's the thing, and I'm with like the people who are pushing it, the artists who are like wanting to make something that they can believe in, need the ability to make something they believe in, and Blender allows them that, and so many people, not everybody, but a lot of people at my previous job saw it as like a threat. They were like, well, it's gonna take away a lot of work from our end of work, and I'm like, well, but yeah, what if like that idea, instead of looking at it that way, what if you look at it like, oh, that idea that I always wanted to make, I might be able to do that and make money off of it, instead of feeling threatened by it, embracing it and going, oh, this actually means that like all those years ago, yeah, I gotta tell my coworkers, remember when you were young and you had ideas of your own? And they still do. All of them do. Everybody in this field has ideas of their own and really cool ideas of their own that they've mulled over for years, and it's just very difficult to get them done.
Yeah.
Because you have to make money.
Exactly. Yeah.
But nowadays, Flow has shown that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my hope with Blender and all that and Flow is that like it shows that you can do it. And it shows that the possibility and it's worth setting down some of the old tools and going, hey, I'll have to suck it up for about a year.
Yeah.
But you know, but as long as I put in the time after hours, I'll be able to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I did with Unreal is like I after all the years of working in the film industry, I put on a VR headset. I saw the GLaDOS demo, the Portal demo that everybody saw, Robot Repair.
Yeah, I remember that
and
one.
I instantaneously was like, fuck, I want to make this shit.
New and exciting developments.
And so I instantly went home, started looking out on the internet what there was, saw Unreal, how it had progressed, where it was. Now that Unreal had just come off of licensing, so you could use it for free.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, interesting. And then I saw that they had VR support out of the gate. I was like, interesting. And then I saw that they had blueprints, which meant that you write C++ using node-based structures.
Right.
So instead of saying if-then, you just right-click, type if, and the little thing that pops up is this little bubble called a branch node. Mm-hmm. And it's just a node that you connect with little wires.
Little bubble thingies.
Yeah, and I had to make the choice between Unity and Unreal. And while Unity does have a version of that, it is not supported by Unity itself. It's a second-hand tool.
Oh, right.
Whereas Blueprints is made by Epic themselves. And so they very constantly make sure that everything you can write in C++, you can do also with Blueprints.
Oh, that's really neat.
Whereas over in Unreal, or over in Unity, they're both great. Anybody who says one's better than the other, they're full of shit. Don't listen to them. They both are insanely powerful. They both do the job incredibly well. This is just my personal tastes. Is that I don't like programming code.
Yeah.
I do love the structure of how programming works. Blueprints allows me to do that without needing to code.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, and so that's why I went that route. And because Unreal's and Epic writes blueprints themselves in-house, that means it has a much better support system. Whereas over in Unity, their node-based programming, I can't remember its name, but because it's not in-house, it means you'll very constantly hit these little walls where you're like, I want to do this thing that's call a function that's available in C++. Or in Unity, it's C#. But you can't because someone hasn't written the little bubble node for it yet.
Right.
And so because of that, I was like, okay, Unreal. And so that's why I went that route. And then spent a year and a half spending after hours and weekends learning Unreal, and then spent a year learning, spent 6 months prototyping a game, and then had a prototype, and then shopped it out. 2 guys hired me to make the game. Made the game. Spent 6 months, which is a psychotic development timeline. Don't do that.
Taking notes.
I was definitely so give yourself a minimum a year, minimum, because I was working 7 days a week,
Oh my
12 to 15 hour shifts. I did that, and I was I didn't know the coffee maker I had purchased made espresso and not coffee. And so I was having the equivalent of 18 to 24 shots of espresso a day.
Oh my lord.
Don't do that. After about 2 months of that, I earned my first panic attack. I called my wife, and I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. She's like,
Oh, no.
what's it feel like? And I explained. She's like, oh no, you're having an anxiety attack. Just lay down, breathe. If you got a paper bag, breathe into that. And I'm like, are you sure? I think I'm dying.
Oh my god.
And they were like, no. So, anyways, learned you have to take at least one day off, and don't drink that much espresso. And still kept up the regiment, but 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And got it done, got it out the door, and thus Hangry Bunnies from Mars was born, and it made it onto Steam, and we needed to make 115,000 in order to break even for the cost of paying my coworkers and me, and we made 1,500.
Oh man.
But it was a feather in the hat, and I wouldn't change a damn thing, and I had a ball making it, and yeah, it was definitely a peak sort of moment.
Yeah. Like a passion project kind of deal.
Yeah. Now I can definitely say I might have spent more hours at the office than others. But that's okay. I wouldn't. It was my game idea. At the end of the day, my thing. My biggest takeaway in every game that you work on, if it doesn't succeed, every project you need to take away something. And the thing I took away from that one was, know what you're good at and trust what others are good at.
Yeah.
I was good at game design and knowing what people would have fun with. Problem was, I thought viral marketing was enough.
Yeah.
And it's not. My coworkers got in contact with a guy who was willing to put in hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing.
Oh wow.
As long as he could just take a percentage of the wins, or take all the wins up to getting his money back, and then after that he would take 30% of the profit. Amazing deal. Should have taken that. Should have. Me and my ignorant and ego, I was like, we got this.
Oh,
I don't need his money. We can do viral marketing. I'll just keep putting out YouTube. Trust me, YouTube will work. And so my coworkers were like, okay. But they had been running a business for 4 years already. I should have trusted them. So that was my takeaway from that one. Trust.
Right.
Know what you're good at. Know what you understand, but don't have the ego to assume that you know everything about all the other stuff too.
Educational experience type deal.
Exactly. Yeah. No one knows all the things. Trust your coworkers when they specialize in something. So, anyways,
when it comes to these like programs and stuff, right? Because like Blender, I feel like a lot of people nowadays are messing around with that, and even with Adobe, like 10 years ago, I think when I was in college, it was like, oh, you need to use Photoshop if you want to do art stuff in the official business. But I feel like nowadays that has also kind of watered back down. Would you say that if a young person right now is like practicing with Blender, that would be a mistake? Or
no. I would tell them that's what to do. I would probably tell them like 100% dive into Blender, do Blender. But as you learn things, have Maya up and learn the same shortcuts. Because if you get a job at a company, you'll be expected to use Maya.
Right.
It's just the unfortunate reality of the current. Now that will change. I really do believe in the next 10 years. I really, really full chest believe that Blender will dominate over the next 10 years. Because several reasons. One, it's come up. Two, it's better than Maya in every way, excluding rigging setup. Its rigging setup is funky. It's there. All the tools are there, and they got some really amazing automated tools. But when you go to set up a rig in Blender, it's a struggle. Whereas in Maya, you're like, oh, here's the tool for that. Here's the tool for this. It all makes sense. The interface makes sense. Now, I am horribly biased because I've been using Maya for a long time.
Makes sense.
So there is that part of it, but even people who use Blender on the daily that I speak to, like, tend to agree. They're like, yeah, its interface is a bit rough, and that's just because it's open source.
Yeah.
So you have you don't have a single agreed upon. This is how this should come together. I mean, they do their best to do that, but it falters a little here and there. But that's literally it. Like. Blender is better than Maya when it comes to rendering, when it comes to looks, its abilities. It took it a while, but I would say over the last like 2 years is when Blender really surpassed Maya. So I would tell them 100% do Blender, and just be ready if you do get a job at a company. Be ready to work 8 hours a day and then go home and study for another 6. And don't have a social life for your first 2 months.
Whew.
Committed. That's what it will take to fake it till you make it. Which, on that note, also, don't be afraid to fake it till you make it. Because the amount of people at my old job who came in only knowing After Effects, who suddenly were like, yeah, I know Nuke. And the first 2 months are like, fuck, how do I use Nuke?
Oh, no.
And they would pull it off, though. That's the thing. You just need to because they all essentially do the same thing, right? A multiply layer is a multiply layer. An add is an add. Bone weight is a bone weight. A gimbal is a gimbal, and a quaternion is a quaternion.
Yeah, the terms remain the same across all.
Yeah, and it's just learning where the buttons are. So as long as you get really good with one of them, then you can fake it till you make it in any of the others.
In the pressure cooker in that scenario.
Yeah, and so you just have to be willing to, and 2 months is nothing.
Yeah.
2 months is a blip on the radar, and it's just going, well, is what it is. This is what I got to do. But if you wanted to specialize in Blender, I would, and I would tell someone to learn Blender anyways out of the gate nowadays.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would tell them Blender and DaVinci Resolve and Natron if they need to, but DaVinci Resolve now has a node-based system. I can't remember its name off the top of my head, but it works much more akin to how Nuke works, and Nuke is the industry standard for the compositing end of things.
Oh, okay.
And so as long as they stick to working with the node-based system inside of DaVinci Resolve, then they'll be able to fake it till they make it with Nuke. And DaVinci Resolve is $200 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not that expensive, I think.
The whole program forever and ever.
Yeah. Rare case.
Yeah, very rare thing. Whereas Maya, like they do have the what's it called?
Like a student license, I remember, I think.
Yeah, the indie one that's $25 a month.
Yeah.
And Nuke, however, is no option. It's like $1,000 a month.
Jesus. Oh my god.
So yeah, and there's a funny backstory thing is that like when all of this industry was getting going, Maya was like $12,000 for a license.
Oh my lord.
And you could not get it unless you had 12K. And Nuke is still on that like that's the only way to get it.
Jesus.
And so then eventually they're like Maya came around and was like, okay, we'll do a monthly fee. And so they came out with their indie license, which is great. So on Hangry Bunnies from Mars, I was able to get an indie license, do it all legally, do everything, above the table. What cracks me up is that a lot of people nowadays see the monthly license and they're like, that's bullshit. And I'm like, you don't know what it used to be.
Different world.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't understand where we came from.
Oh my god. Yeah, I vaguely remember Adobe having similar things where it was really expensive for single-use stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and now Adobe with their like, okay, even those licenses that you do own, we now own and reneging on their those guys can.
Yeah, Adobe is a whole other can of worms in that regard.
That was one of the sleaziest licensing moves I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's its whole rabbit hole to crawl into. But anyways, yeah, someone coming up, Blender, DaVinci Resolve, go for it. And very importantly, I would also tell them, do your thing. Don't aspire to work for a company on a thing. Don't aspire for Disney. Don't aspire for Marvel. Don't aspire for any of those. Aspire for your idea. Whatever is in your head, do that.
Right.
I would strongly recommend for them to try to make it on their own, because the first 5 years you're probably not going to get hired anyways.
Yeah. The newbie curse.
Yeah, it's the newbie curse, and then there's the Olby curse at the other tail end of the equation when VFX artists I know who are like, 60 now, and they because coworkers that I've met through the years of working at Luma Pictures, that they struggle to find work because there's the tail end where like you have enough experience to where you know how much you should be getting paid, but there's a whole bunch of very hungry, very starving people looking to get into the industry.
Yeah.
And so it's going through its whole thing. Anyways, Blender, DaVinci Resolve, do your own thing. Don't worry about a big company.
When it comes to those like programs, is there like a specific way you would recommend people to learn? Because it's like obviously when you open it for the first time, it's very overwhelming. It's like where does one even begin with those kind of things?
Yeah, 100%. If you can find a YouTube University playlist that's someone taking someone from the very beginning to the very end, rock on. If you can't, because those are often hard to come by, like, I want to make this type of game, or I want to make this type of animation. It's very hard to find it all in one playlist. So I heavily lean on Udemy. Udemy, their courses, when you go search for a course, some of them will list it $100 to $200.
Right.
Which, in the big scheme of things, isn't much for a whole course. But that is an immense amount of money if you're living off of Top Ramen. Which is most people. So instead, what you do is you just bookmark all the classes you want. And Udemy, without me ever not, I've always seen this happen about once. If I have all of the classes that I want bookmarked, and once every week I'll check in on them, within 3 to 5 weeks, that class will go on sale and be down at $9 to $20.
Sick.
So they constantly flop which ones are on sale. And so just bookmark the ones you want, and then when they come up for sale, buy them, and then sit down, because the Udemy courses are very often, read the reviews, make sure the reviews are good. Don't just buy it blindly. But as long as the reviews are good, and that's where normally you'll find someone teaching like, you want to get into Blender? We're going to start at the very, very beginning,
The
and I'm going to
fucking
teach
donut.
you. Yeah, the
Every time.
donut. Yeah, my favorite beginner one to recommend to people for Blender is this little owl sculpting one, where it's just
Oh.
you just sculpt this little 3D owl, and it's dumb and simple and easy. But at the end of it, you actually have a piece of artwork that's cute and cool, and you could be proud of.
Right.
Instead of when people shoot straight for, I want to make a humanoid character, and I want to make a person, or I want to, and it looks like shit, and that's what it's always going to be. There's no way anyone ever steps into it and makes something beautiful their first time if it's something as complicated as a human. And so don't start there. Start with this dumb little sculpting owl and a dumb little something else sculpt, and go, okay, I like this, or I don't like it, and find a different career path.
Kill your darlings kind of thing, where it's just like
get as many tastes as you can. It's Lauren Faust, the MLP creator. What your first good art piece is hidden underneath, or your first good art, or your first good drawing is hidden underneath your first 200 bad ones.
Yeah, no, that's a good advice for sure.
So it's just about again, and I would tell people Udemy, because you'll find much more coherent classes, and then YouTube, go crazy on YouTube, of course, but you'll often find much more. And Udemy doesn't pay me anything. I've just found them to be intensely resourceful and helpful in that regards. So
I feel like nowadays, like, shorts are also, I mean, this is obviously still very new and upcoming, but whenever the algorithm picks up that I use Adobe, for example, it just gives you these, like, oh, here's how you do this thing, this effect, or, like, it's super specific, but it's very easy to bookmark all of those, because it's like, oh, I need this specific one for now.
Right. Yeah. And that's the way I did with Unreal. Like, I was 100% YouTube University for Unreal.
Oh wow.
I learned. I didn't school. I was well beyond school when I started in on that. And so I just picked up the first. I made a list of all the tutorials to go through. And so I had like 10 introduction tutorials. And then it was like, okay, so how about this, and how about that, and how about that, and I just made this really long list of tutorials to go through, and I just started at one end and went through the other. And after about a year of doing that, I was like, I think I know how to make a game now.
Oh.
So and it's much easier now, like much easier now. If someone a often common I don't know what the word is, but misunderstood thing is that if you want to do 2D, you do Unity and Godot, and if you want to do 3D, you do Unreal. But that couldn't be like farther from the truth. You can do any one of them for any one of them, of course, but Unreal is incredibly good and easy at doing 2D stuff.
Oh.
And so, like, there's one tutorial by a YouTube guy named Cobra Code. And he can have you making a run and jump 2D platformer in about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And so, because his tutorial is about 40 minutes, so about 3 to 4 hours of your actual time getting through it. And that's when I constantly send to people who are like, I want to make a 2D game. I'm like, trust me, just trust me, just do this one tutorial. And whenever they do, they're like, holy shit.
Right. Yeah, there's so much to choose. It's like I've seen so many master lists nowadays too of like, oh, what kind of game stuff should I use? And then there's just, oh, you want to do this, you should use this. Oh, you want to do that, like super specific.
Yeah.
So not even just like 2D, 3D, but types of 2D as well.
Yeah, and that's why, again, like I am super biased, and again, I'm not saying Unreal's better at it, because everyone's good at all of them. It's just I keep finding very easy ways to do thing in Unreal that I would otherwise have to. For example, in the 2D running and jumping stuff, I would, if I wanted to make a character that ran and jumped, well, I would have to write the thing that draws the pixels on the screen first. So it can take an image and then do the sprite sheets, the animation sheets. And then I would have to write a function that takes care of how gravity works. And then I'd have to write a function that takes care of how button input works. Then I'd have to write a function on how left and right movements with gravity, with physics, with friction works. And all those things you have to build from the ground up in the other programs. Whereas, and yeah, you can download templates and use a lot of that. There is a lot of that stuff out of the gate that you can download off Unity's marketplace, 100%. So it isn't necessarily true that you don't have those out of the gate, but I just see a lot of people doing a lot of stuff from the ground up that feels like reinventing the wheel.
Right.
Whereas you don't need to do that, because every game with a 2D one you're going to need those tools anyways, so why rebuild them? Like, don't be afraid to, like, either if you're using Unity, go onto the marketplace, pay $2, get someone else's 2D game system, and then start going to work. And if you're on Unreal, then it's built into the system. There's tutorials on how to use the existing systems that are already in there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, don't be afraid to stand on shoulders and work forward from there. Yeah.
Good advice. Good advice, to be honest. I feel like there's definitely I forgot exactly which interview this was that we talked about this as well, but a bit of a shame-induced element with taking things that other people made, even if it's like actually really helpful. I don't know if that's like an ego thing or standard thing.
A bit. And there is the shame that, like, oh, you're stealing someone else's thing, but no, you go onto the marketplace and you're paying the money.
Mm-hmm. You're buying tools, essentially.
You're paying them you're paying them money, and those are like little independent artists like me with the project I did for Vichiban. Which was an animation. They needed a giant cyberpunk city, but they needed it on a budget. I can't, like, city is it takes a bajillion years to build a city. So I just went online, bought a bunch of, of course I had to purchase like 10 different city kit bash sets.
Yeah.
And of course I had to go in and fix all the assets and adjust all the materials, and
so that they actually work together.
Yeah, it took about 120 hours total to get the thing done.
Whew.
Which is, it's not bad at all things as far as projects I get involved with go. But you still have to do a whole lot of work on this stuff. It doesn't just like slam together and look good. It like really, really never does. But you're able to achieve things bigger than you by yourself would have been able to achieve. And you're paying an artist who had already made the thing you wanted.
Yeah.
So you're helping the community and reaching for something that's bigger than you would have been able to achieve without their help.
Right. So it's just an artist helping artists kind of deal.
Yeah. And so that's why, no one should feel feel a little bit shame if you use the default kit bash that comes with Unity. That's that one horror house that's in like 5,000 different games. Like, I'll publicly shame a little bit for that one.
The asset store kind of deals, yeah.
Yeah, well, just when it's the same one over and over, and you know that house, and everybody knows that house.
There's always a few assets that people recognize in like random indie games, like a tree or something.
Yeah, where you're like, there you are. The hard part, I'll say, is like after working on movies for long enough, like I annoyingly recognize rocks and and assets in movies. So other movies I didn't work on, I'll be like, I know that building. I know.
Takes you out of the immersion.
It does a bit when you're like, I know that building, I know that rock, I know that car, I know that. Yeah.
Oh my god. I never even thought about, because like I feel like it's so easy to forget that the special effects world is also, like poly elements. It's just like very, very different kind of poly elements. Very high poly, insanely high poly.
Right. Yeah, and that's the only real difference, just more. Yeah. Especially nowadays with the Unreal and VFX blurring together, like on the Doctor Strange projects. that we worked on. So that was like the first big visual effects project we worked on where we went full dive into using Unreal. And so in the shots, foreground elements will be done. Those foreground elements were done traditionally. So modeler, texture artist, those get dumped into Maya. They get lit and rendered in a program called at the time we were using at the time we were using Arnold. Arnold is the renderer, much like RenderMan.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so when it comes to renderers, there's Arnold, RenderMan, V-Ray, in Blender it's Cycles. And so a lot of different companies will write their own front ends to interface with those renderers. So one of those front ends is a program called Katana. I hate Katana passionately.
Quite a joke.
But that is only because I don't use it day in, day out, and it was one of the most unfriendly interfaces I've ever seen.
That's one of the biggest enemies of this industry, I feel like, if you just want to get something done, but you don't understand the program very well.
Yeah, and you open it up and you're like, oh,
where is it? Where's the one button
here? What is happening here? Yeah. And that's also why I loved Unreal so much, is that like its interface, you get stuff it's a very artist friendly tool. Whereas other ones, not so much. But yeah, on Doctor Strange, it was foreground elements were done traditionally. So normal concept art to a modeler.
Oh, like from scratch.
Yeah. And then they're rendered in our traditional renderer pipeline, which means it goes to Arnold and gets rendered out normally. Whereas the mid-ground buildings to far buildings are Unreal renders or what is it? My words. Paint. So actually, is it okay if I share screen?
I can't really show images.
Right. Yeah, it's
audio.
podcast. So I'll use my words. Okay, so foreground traditional stuff, midground was all Unreal for the most part, and background was Unreal, and then anything that didn't jive 100% and didn't look right, the matte paint artists would come in and fix up those spots. Which was, a fair share. But by the end of the project, some of the foreground buildings were from Unreal. And instead of the traditional, so we eventually got them looking as good as they did out of Arnold and Katana and the professional, the normal pipeline. It just took a while to get them there. And so you ended up with this mixed bag, which what it does is render time. If we were rendering the whole city, the renders would take probably about 8 to 12 hours a frame. And we need to render hundreds of thousands of frames. And so, so that's not viable, Whereas in Unreal, we could get eventually by the end of it the same quality, but you're talking a couple 2 to 5 minutes a frame. So I could light stuff real time, set stuff up real time, and do it all very, very quickly. And so the amount of images renders that me and my one coworker were putting out was the equivalent of what would take a team of, 10 to 18 people to put out.
Oh my God.
And it was just 2 of us. So that's where the real power comes in, is that we were able to use the foreground elements rendered traditionally, and because we were only rendering the foreground buildings, that meant the render times got cut down to 2 to 4 hours a frame, and sometimes less. depending on how much of the building is showing. And then with the background ones, render those in Unreal and burn through a whole sequence. The Gargantua? I can't remember in Doctor Strange when the big eyeball creature is running through the city.
I have no idea.
Anyways, it was a movie. It had a creature. There's a sequence in New York where there's this giant eyeball thing running through the city. Gargantua, I think, is its name or something like that. And it's pretty lengthy. And so it would have been very exceedingly difficult for us to pull it off without leaning into Unreal and saving the time where we could save the time, and then, pay the price where you need to pay the price and save where you can save. And
that makes
so
sense.
because of that, it works out. And also, I cannot stand waiting to see how something looks.
Right.
So
Right.
That's also why I use Unreal for VFX. And I may have had to forcibly shove my way in the door with it by when a show would start, I would spend a week gathering assets, spend another week making a look dev shot to prove that it could look good enough, and then do this all on my own time after hours. Just so that I could come and go, look, see, it works. And they're like, oh, okay. All right, let's use it. So it was a bit of, fighting my way in the door to get to use it. But it does work and it does pay off at the end of the day. So,
Dang.
Yeah.
Is there something about the workflow that you're used to that you would recommend to other people in this kind of scenario?
Yeah. So if it is a sequence that you're going to work on, get a singular image from the client of what they're after.
Oh,
first,
right.
lock that down, or make sure you start out with some scribbles. So just pen and paper, scribble it. Use MS Paint here. Get them to scribble down kind of what their idea is, and then go and make a mood board. And I don't know, good pretty giant beefy mood board of is this what you want? Is this the kind of thing you want? Like on Vichibon, it was we had some scribble ideas, and then once Shia kind of had a main look that he wanted as far as the composition of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went around and gathered a whole bunch of cyberpunk city images and made a really, really big mood board and sent those to him, and he circled the ones that he liked. And so then I made a new mood board that was just those with some other ideas of my own. So that way I could always have the 4 to 5 pictures he had picked out center. So no matter what, I was always referring to those 4 or 5 images. And then at that point, I did a rough box model layout of the scene. So just boxes, spheres, planes.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then put your camera in there. First and foremost, make sure your camera and your main layout of boxes and spheres and planes and cones and simple shapes is there and in position. Otherwise, you'll waste thousands of hours doing stuff that's never on camera.
Yeah.
Always build to camera. And then so once you have that, do a quick rough light. So, your sunlight, if it has it, moonlight, city lights, whatever. So for that stage, I put in some greens foreground, purple midground, reds in the background, and just kind of rough light on that. And then sent that image to Shia and said, does this look like what you want? Or do you want to make changes? He had very, very minimal notes. So I did those notes and then set to replacing those boxes with actual city assets. And so then I had bought in kit bash sets of cities, streetcars, signs, effects, all this stuff. But you start out just by replacing the hard assets. So I went and swapped out the boxes for buildings, swapped out other boxes for roads, put dummy characters in where their characters would go. And then you send that picture to the client and say, hey, is this kind of, ignore the lighting, ignore the materials. Is this kind of the layout? And they go, yeah, no, switch that, switch, do like that, don't like that, swap out what you need to. Then proceed to putting in, like getting the materials to jive together. And you get them to jive together by first making sure that you switch into a view mode that lets you just look at the color of the material.
Mm.
Um, and so then you kind of balance the colors together so they don't contrast against each other too much. So it's hard to explain exactly, but if you're in a viewport and you're looking at just the color of the stuff, you'll instantaneously with human eyeballs go, oh, this is wrong, that's right. And
Otherwise, you get that
them...
cheap indie feel or something where it's like things
yeah,
from different places very visibly.
Yeah, you can visibly go, that doesn't belong next to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so you gotta go through the materials, balance those out. You do the same with the roughness. So the roughness defines whether something's glossy or rough. And so you do that with the base color and the roughness. And those are your main two that will get you there. And then you turn your lights back on, and everything will normally at that point suddenly go, wow, it's magically better. And then you go through and you start fine-tuning materials and fine-tuning your lights. Then you go through, start adding in things like cars, characters, little bits and bobs, street poles, wires.
Yeah, like the details kind of deal.
Set dressing stuff.
Oh, set dressing. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go through after that and start adding in effects, smoke, electricity, little flashing lights. And then you bring in animations. And so you just get through that, and that'll get you there. That basically will get you through the process from ground zero to the end. And don't be afraid to kit bash.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've used that. I used that process for Doctor Strange. I used it for an animation project that I was working on right before I left Luma. I used that for Halo. I used that for there was an animated series that was a space western. Shoot. Anyways, used it for. I can't remember the name of it. I've worked on a lot of different shit at this point.
No, that's fair. Really that's fair. I understand.
It's really hard to. I can, Rebel Moon. That was it.
Ah.
Yeah. And my coworkers used it for Lilo and Stitch. And we used it for was it some of the Baby Groot series, but it's that same process. You just box model, you get your concept art, you get your mood board, do a box model rough, start replacing the parts, tune the materials, tune the lighting, set dress.
And that's like on top of a storyboard usually, I imagine, right? Or no?
It's very rare you get a storyboard anymore.
Oh, really? I thought that was a thing.
Yeah, no, it's very no. You still get storyboards from time to time. A lot of the time it's just straight from script to previs because previs can happen so quickly nowadays.
Oh wow.
So there'll be who is it? The Third Floor, I think, is the name of the company, who does a whole lot of previs for a lot of different movies. But they'll bang out like 4 to 6 shots in a day.
Oh wow. Jesus.
So that's just like, take character, put him in there, animate, quick, background, this, and just like slam it together. And like, it can be as ugly as needs to be. It just needs to show where the character is, what the camera's doing, what the environment is, and that's it.
Like a rough sketch, but it's 3D models kind of deal.
Right. And that's, again, another part where Unreal can come in super handy, because you can do that really fast.
Right.
So even if you're not using it for final product, it's very good at just slapping shit together as quickly as possible.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So oftentimes you'll get the previs, you'll get the concept art.
Right.
Sometimes you'll get a mood board. Sometimes. And lots of times, especially with bigger clients, you'll get a LiDAR. So you'll get the
Oh,
3D scan of the scene of the set.
right.
Yeah.
Right, because you
So
work over
then,
like green screen sometimes, I imagine, or I don't know what it is
sometimes
called.
it's so sometimes they film on location and you'll get a scan of the set that way.
Oh,
Sometimes they film on green screen and you'll get a scan of both the intended environment where it's going to be, and then you'll also get a scan of the green screen where they filmed the actors.
oh wow.
Because it often can be cheaper to just send people out to 3D scan and film the environment, and then have the actors come into a green screen set and film and record them there.
Right.
Um, yeah, because actors cost a bleeding fortune.
Yeah, I imagine that's one of the most expensive parts.
It is.
Whew.
so, so yeah, but they have to make a lot because they only work for like X amount of time out of the life of the movie, so they have to make a lot in that short amount of time that they have work.
Yeah.
That said, I do wish more of the money was relegated to the other workers in the industry,
Yeah.
such as the artist. But that's its own thing. As they
Whole
say.
different whole different topic. No, for sure.
That's its own thing. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't even know what the original question was.
This is how it usually goes. So don't worry. Is there something you used to do in your workflow or something that has completely and utterly changed, or that you now look back on and you're like, that was a little stupid?
Let's see. The massively changed thing is moving from being stuck in the ways of was it normally you have you get your previs, then layout does a layout of the scene, the box model version, then tracking will get the shots and track them into place in the layout scene, so that way the cameras move in 3D space in a cohesive 3D world that can be built. Then the animators animate in front of the cameras with the character rigs, and at the same time the asset artists are building 3D model assets on top of the layout to go into the background. As then it goes to lighting, and the lighters will light the scene and render it, and then it will go to compositing. They'll put the images and the layers together. Then it goes to review for the bosses.
Oh my lord.
That's the traditional pipeline, and it's very expensive and it takes a very long time. The major thing that's changed, which is hugely why I pursued Unreal, is that it goes from the shot to the Unreal artist to review. So I get a track, I put it into the scene that I built, that I lit, that I put everything together in, and then I render it out, I bring it over to Nuke, I slap comp stuff together, and I send it for review. So you're skipping huge days and weeks worth of time,
Wow.
and saving, at the end of a project, you're saving millions of dollars. And that's like not an exaggeration. By the time you're done with the project, you will have saved the company millions of dollars
Wow. Jesus.
by doing it that way. Now, a lot of people are afraid of that in the sense of like the amount of jobs that it can crush into one job. But what it actually does is, in my view, also bias, Unreal artist, that it makes it so that we can like get to the quote unquote art of the thing quicker.
Right.
So instead of people having to spend hundreds and thousands of hours collectively nitpicking these technical problems that you're like, this is a little wrong. Oh, well, it has to go back to tracking. This is a little wrong. Oh, it has to go back to layout. This is a little wrong. Oh, it has to go back, and you have to wait for the cycle to happen, for it to go all the way back to the person, go to the next person, go down the pipeline, and make its way back to the end of the pipeline so that a CG supervisor can review it.
Whew.
Instead, you get to the final look quicker, and instead you get to concentrate more on what makes this shot cool. Does the light underneath make it look cool? Does the light on the right-hand side make it look cool? Does that rock rotated this way make it look cool, or does it rotated that way look cool? Like what the actual, again, quote unquote, art of the thing,
Right.
rather than the technical hurdles that you have to get through to get to the art of the thing.
All the technical stuff.
Yeah. So and it makes it so everybody can get to that part much quicker and spend more time at that part. Like, and this is no exaggeration, on most projects I've worked on that are all these big movies, that are all these Marvel movies, that are like Thor and Doctor Strange and Groot and was it the Guardians of the Galaxy and all of that. We spend like a good 70 to 80% of our time budgeted to getting through that technical stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then the last 30% getting to the art of the thing. And it's always terrifying because the project nothing really looks that good up until the last few months.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And in that last few months, suddenly everything explodes and looks beautiful and great. And every single time it freaks you out. Because you're walking around going, wow, this doesn't look good yet. This doesn't look good yet.
Yeah, like stress incarnate, I can imagine.
Yeah, and then suddenly it looks gorgeous and beautiful. It's because everybody finally got through the technical problem and now can concentrate on the art of the problem.
Right.
And these artists are so good at art because that's why they got into the industry in the first place.
Yeah.
That the longer they can spend on that art part, the better they can make things look. And so that's been the biggest change, I'd say, is just the turnaround of the pipeline has gone from being super slow to being super fast. Again, that's only over in Unreal World.
Yeah.
Most of the industry still works very traditionally. And it is how you still have to handle super big budget stuff.
Yeah.
You still, like, creature work you still have to handle traditionally. Monsters and stuff like that, the way their skin moves, the way their body moves, like again on Doctor Strange, the big eyeball creature, like when his tentacles moved, they had to have a muscle structure underneath that's an octopus's muscle structure.
Yeah, like it actually works and doesn't just kind of move around.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a subconscious feeling that when you look at something, you're like, that's not right, and your brain will pick up on it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not right. Yeah, and so if the weight of that body mass stomping around on the ground doesn't wiggle and move in just the right way, your brain will look at it and go, this feels cheap.
Yeah. Takes you out of it.
And when you're working for clients like Marvel and Disney, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will be very upset at you if you do.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, because they pay you lots and lots of money to do that.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's why I never want to be in management. I never want to be a coordinator. I never want to be in management because, like, I could not handle.
No, fair.
I like giving me my task. I'll go make this thing look cool. And I'll do it very fast. But I can't fathom like talking to a client like that and sure, we're going to negotiate, $10 million.
Yeah, that's requires like
so
a
that I can go
hustling
high.
kinda
So that I can go hire 120 people and
my
somehow
Lord.
fucking organize them.
Oh. Yeah, that's a lot of Trello boards. Actually, just kidding.
It's scary business. And so I after doing freelance for a while, I did about 2 years worth of freelance work, and I made it work. I got a decent pay from it. Not great, but I kept rent paid and the lights on. And the amount of work you have to do on the business end with getting clients, landing them, talking to them, negotiating deals, pay rates, taxes. It's a pro and a con. I want to work for myself, but boy howdy, that part sucks. And so always make sure to thank the people who take care of that at your work, because they are not often thanked. And it's a task that is not easy.
How do they even choose who to hire? Like, is it mostly connections, or is it like network, portfolio stuff?
Demo reel.
Right.
Demo reel. 30 seconds. Well, okay, so if someone's making a demo reel, you have 10 seconds.
To get their attention, or...
To get their attention. Yeah, you got 10 seconds to get their attention. So you make sure your 10 seconds is good.
Yeah.
Beyond that, 30-second mark, show other stuff. Minute, they're probably not paying attention.
Yeah, that's a good rule, I think.
Yeah. So 10 seconds, definitely at least have 30 seconds worth of stuff. But have your 10 seconds be the reason you're getting the job. And then if you want to go up to a minute, by all means, just to show like, hey, I work hard.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things.
I've done stuff.
Is it like on ArtStation?
My first,
or
for the most part, everybody uses Vimeo.
Oh,
yeah, I know, right?
Didn't expect that one.
Let's dust that one off.
But wait, how would people even find them then? Is it like just out there?
They don't. So it's because most people's stuff shows stuff that like is under, some of it's under NDA. So you have to put a password on it, and you have to make sure that only your clients can see it.
Right.
Now, if your stuff is out in the open, by all means, don't put a password on it, and you include it. You include a link to it on your resume when you submit.
Right.
Most of them Vimeo. Again, much like Maya and Blender, that is just, and Facebook, as to everything else in the world, it's just older generation stuff.
Fair enough.
But there is no objection to YouTube and any of that stuff.
No, right? Because like, how would, if someone is like completely new? Because a trend I feel of the creative industry right now is that I mean, you can obviously, education is great and all, but there are definitely a lot of people that haven't done any particular schooling, but they do have a really cool portfolio because they're like self-taught. But like, how the hell would someone like that get themselves out there?
Oh, so if it's your own stuff, put it on YouTube, put it on Twitter, put it on Vimeo, put it everywhere, like everywhere you possibly can. LinkedIn is your friend. LinkedIn. Do not trust monster.com. Do not trust
monster.com.
It's an old what's some of the other, there's other job boards that I can't remember their names, but like just
I'm mostly familiar with ArtStation for like the professional stuff, but I don't know if they do like video.
ArtStation is really good for doing your breakdowns, like, and being in the community and showing your stuff to like other people in the community. And it's good to like, it's always good to have an ArtStation, to have your stuff online. Like, definitely do that. I don't even use ArtStation though. But I know I should.
It is a very nice and clean website for portfolio.
It is very, very good in that sense. So definitely, for your portfolio, put it on ArtStation, but also make your 30-second demo reel, and plaster that everywhere on the internet, and including Vimeo, and
being
then
shameless.
just absolutely just everywhere. And then just start to get my job. And I applied as a modeler. And I did not. When I applied at 120 different places. And that's easy street. You normally have to go upwards of 300 to 500 before you start to
That's
Yeah, this is why I say make your own stuff. It'll work out better.
Mm-hmm. You hear about that a lot. Like when people just get started, it's oh my god, it's so hard to get in the first place.
Yeah. But what was it? Yeah. So do that. Plaster just apply everywhere. Oh yeah. What was it? So I applied as a modeler. My demo reel that I was using is so cringe. I'll have to show it to you sometime. It makes me want to crawl into a hole and die watching it. But so I sent it out as a modeling demo reel and applied all over the place. No calls, no call. Well, I take that back. I did get some calls back from various different places. None of them bit. One of them, oddly enough, I had a interview as a 3D modeler for design stuff at one of Zuckerberg's, because old Zucky, he owns a lot of different companies, and at the time he was still big but not super big yet, and he was working with Oakley and O'Neill. And I actually got to have an interview with the Zuck man himself.
Oh, wow.
And my laptop died.
What?
And he said, well, that's a shame. And I said, yep.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, well, have a nice day.
Dude. Oh, the secondhand embarrassment. Oh, my God.
So do not trust your cousin to charge the laptop that you're going to use during a presentation.
Good Lord. Oh my God.
Anyways, then I interviewed with the company who made a ripoff of City of Heroes. And what was it? During the interview, it was a board member or a board like 8 people at a board, and you call in, and so you're talking to all these people and they're asking you questions, and they say, well, what do you think about our games? Like the interview is going reasonably okay, and they're like, what do you think about our games? And I'm like, oh, I love City of Heroes. And instantly everybody starts dying laughing, because it turns out I was wrong. They did the game that was a clone ripoff of City of Heroes.
No.
Not City of Heroes. So they all die laughing. Yeah. And they're like, well, this is a game we actually do. And I'm like, oh, well, it's been good. And they're like, yep, talk to you never.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
So that was another fun one. But then with Luma, they said, well, your demo reels, it's decent, but it's not movie quality. You got a long ways to go for that, but we do need trackers. And I said, what is a tracker? And they said, well, here's the programs. And so then I spent 1 week reading the manuals, doing as much as I could. And then I spent another week with my shitty little camera recording some shots outside my property, tracking a car moving shot, a handheld running shot, and object flying, which was a VHS tape of an old anime.
Oh.
Like Akira or some shit.
Oh my God.
And put 3D models on top of those things and did a wireframe build and sent that back so the second week doing that, sent that back to them, and they're like, you did this in 2 weeks. And I'm like, yep. They're like, and you knew nothing about tracking before that. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, cool, you're hired.
Okay.
Sick. So that got me in. Also, it helped a whole hell of a lot to have my old college friend Pavel at that company, and Hazard was one of their programmers, and they got them to at least look at my tracking demo reel after I failed the modeling part.
Yeah, networking goes a very long way.
It goes a very, very long way. It really, really does. To get your foot in the door. Once the foot is in the door, just grinds set like a motherfucker. Like just go
Yeah.
crazy with it. And sacrifice your life for about 2 months, and then you'll be okay, and then you can do normal hours. But that's just kind of the reality of it.
Sounds about right for the
Um,
creative world
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the movie industry right now, especially because like so many companies are going belly up. The company I used to work for, Luma Pictures, I was with them for over a decade. I took a break in the middle to make my game, but they've gone from we started out at like 25 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then grew to like near 300 people. Um, and now they're back down to like 25 people again.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and it's just that like so no, the movie industry is highly competitive right now
Mm-hmm.
because all these giant companies are faltering and dying.
Yeah.
Um, and so you're competing against not only hungry new people, but you're also competing against veterans.
Yeah.
Um, and each has their bonuses. So don't think just because if someone's young and new, don't like still try if it's what you really want. Because know that the the competition you have with uh, the seniors want more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can perform on a budget, they'll take you any day of the week because they're a business.
Yeah. That makes
And
sense. Yeah.
number one thing I could tell people is to understand that they are businesses. They are there to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So if know that. So don't feel that way. If something goes wrong, you won't feel betrayed about it.
No, that's
This
it's good
is-
to keep in mind for sure.
Yeah, like if you put in those extra hours and you work extra hard, make sure to message your higher ups as to what you are doing for them to make them more money.
Right.
They will not know it unless you tell them. And a lot of people make the mistake of throwing themselves, quote, on the cross for companies and putting in all of these hours and just grinding their life into dust,
Mm-hmm.
hoping and thinking that their extra work will be noticed.
Yeah.
And know that it won't be unless you say something.
Yeah.
That would be one of the biggest lessons I could take away and say someone getting in is like, know that they will not know unless you tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they don't care, because they care that you're making them more money. But they won't know unless you let them know.
Yeah. Kind of like a bit of
so-
bragging kind of way almost.
Yeah, it's obnoxious, but you have to kind of like, and me being someone who I hated bragging, hated like passionately. I did not like it at all, but I realized like you kind of have to.
Yeah. Make your value known essentially.
Exactly. Like if you're going to work at a company, make sure the higher ups know what you're worth and what you're doing for them. Yeah, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah. No,
But
that's
if
good
you-
advice, I think.
Yeah, if you don't and you bleed for them, and then they fire you because they thought you were just doing one particular job, then you're like, but I bled for you, Captain. What the hell?
My sacrifice mean nothing to.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
last but not least is the question
Yeah.
of, do you have anything that you want to shout out right now?
God, it's all under NDA. God damn it.
The creative struggle. Oh,
It is.
I mean, maybe the company like keep an
yeah.
eye on this and this, or
Yeah, if I could shout anybody out, like keep in the VTuber space, keep your eyeballs on Vichiban. They're amazing people with the right idea. The way they approach their businesses, the way they approach their projects, the way they approach how to go about doing things while maintaining profitability
yeah,
is something I wish more groups and companies did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
And,
relevant now.
Yeah. And yeah, just study Blender. Study Blender. Do Unreal, study Blender. Freaking don't feel betrayed if a company is strictly doing a thing for money because that's what they do. So react according. Just like know that if they do something that seems really greedy, well, that's what they're prone to do.
Yeah. Be ready for that kind of deal.
Be ready. Yeah, expect it. Expect it. Now, of course, if a company does something like what Adobe's done, then maybe
yeah,
about stuff.
Yeah.
And most importantly, do your own thing. Like believe in your thing more than anything else, because that will pay off in the long run more than anything else will. Is making the idea that you have in your head a reality.
Yeah.
Long run, that will pay off more than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a definitely a good thing to keep in mind, especially now since it's such a not friendly, but good environment to do your own projects compared to 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, 10, 15 years ago, go to school, get the degree, you get the job,
exactly.
you get the money. That is not the equation.
Different world.
That is not the equation at all.
No, exactly. Yeah. Well,
so.
Lenny, thank you so much for wanting to come on the podcast at all. And guys, if you want to check out Lenny, I'll add a little link in the description with some information. And, of course, to other sources if you're interested. And stay awesome, stay creative, and we'll see you next time.